What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of UGUEBROTHERS vlogs. This is our Real Talk with Joe time, and this is the spot where Rob and I usually come and do our live streams. Usually I do this from like an abandoned location. Tonight I decided to come here. It's peaceful, it's quiet. Whew, got a lot on my mind, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy these talks. You get to know me a little better. Likewise, it's kind of like a confessional, you know. I kind of get to get stuff off my chest, and might as well jump right into things. Lately, I haven't really been myself, you know. Been kind of like, you know, as I told you guys before, sometimes I get depressed, you know. I think we all do, but lately I felt like kind of like almost like an anger inside me, and I think it's from doing these ghost hunting videos, really. And all right, so I found myself kind of like getting angry at people, you know, where I normally wouldn't. I'm pretty much passive, you know. But you know, lately I just been, and I think it's from the videos. I think it's a lot of things. One, it's the holiday season coming up. This is right before Christmas, you know. Additionally, sometimes I feel like, you know, like I got all this pressure on me, you know what I mean? And I like to apologize to some people, you know who you are, who I kind of laid into a little bit. It's really unlike me, you know. I guess I could be really intimidating if I want to be, and this guy at the gym that always annoys me, you know, but I'm always so nice to him. And, you know, he just got me at the wrong time, you know, and, yeah, I kind of like, you know, he's always like cracking jokes with me and stuff, and, you know, trying to be funny, and, you know, and I don't know really what transpired, but I kind of like ripped him to shreds a little bit. Not like me. I did it, though. And I could see on his face, you know, like, he must have been, like, thinking that I'm so freaking nuts. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. A lot of people ask me, are you going to continue doing these videos? And, of course, I'm going to continue doing them. As we mentioned before, January is going to be some changes, which is great. It's good stuff, guys. I promise you that. Heard all kinds of like rumors, like, oh, they're going to be doing this, they're going to be doing that. But the real truth is that I'll share that with you when the time comes. It's kind of funny, like I've been like, you know, part of this talk tonight is like, you know, it's so easy to lose yourself, and I do a lot of thinking and a lot of soul searching, and one of the things I realized about my life is that, you know, I think about my life of who I used to be and where I am now, and how things have changed, and it's weird because all those things in my life seem like lifetimes ago, like it was another person, you know. And sometimes I think that's what bothers me in life, is I worry about those things, you know. I worry about you know, where I was, where I'm going, you know. It's funny, I just recently put out a video, and where we did the church, and you know, so many people are like, why didn't you go inside? Why didn't you go inside the church? You know, why did you stay out inside the church? Well, guys, the reason why is that I honestly, you know, we can get in trouble for going in there. It's you know, the electricity's on now. It's a different ball game. You know what I mean? And a lot of people were like, oh, you know, I can't believe this, you know, and And it kind of blew my mind because we put so much effort and energy into our videos, and we never try to leave you shortchanged, you know. And kind of got on a few people about that. I guess one of the things is that, you know, it's hard for us to sometimes internalize all that we do. Sometimes it's very hard for us to, you know, not only internalize things but to express things, you know. And one of the hardest things to do is get on camera and tell your story, right? Because it's like, it's up to interpretation how the viewer may interpret what you're doing. So sometimes it's frustrating for us, and again, I apologize for the people that I laid into, because, you know, it was just, you know, sometimes it gets to you, you know what I mean? But anyway, I realized that about myself lately, that I've been kind of like angry, and I know it's from doing the videos. Now, I'm not saying I'm stopping doing the videos, just taking a different approach. Some people say, well, you're going kind of too light on the videos, or, you know, there's a purpose and a reason for the things that we do. It's not that we do these videos with the intent of not going savage, not going strong. But there was a time that people said to us, we would only put up videos that we thought were extremely savage and crazy. And then so many people got with us and said, well, what about this can't be all the time that this happens, so, you know, why don't you put up all your videos, and, you know, we'll love them just the way they are. So we do, and then we get slack for that. So, you know, it's kind of a catch-22, really. Anyway, about the anger in myself, like, I know I can be an imposing person. I could, if I get angry, the look on my face, and I'm not a small guy, is probably intimidating, and I really felt bad for like ripping this guy up at the gym. I didn't really rip him up, but I was very matter-of-factly like, you know, like, leave me alone. Today is not the day, you know. And it's funny because in a way, sometimes I'm too damn nice, and then I don't want to be anything that I'm not. I'm a nice person. I like to you know, be non-confrontational. I like to be, you know, just enjoy my life. I like to smile a lot. You guys know I smile all the time. But yeah, the gym episode got me thinking. Like, I almost felt like a rage come over me, almost like. And I forget what the guy's annoying. Trust me, this guy's annoying as can be, and he's always in everybody's face, and he thinks he's like this big bad muscle guy, and he's always cracking jokes, and I always just, you know, kind of like, okay, and it's, you know, I just wasn't feeling it, you know. Doesn't make me a bad person, but I did kind of like think about things in my life that I want to change lately. And you know, I told the story in my last introduction in a video I did at a 30-minute alone challenge at the cemetery, and I talked about this guy who I prayed with, and a couple of years ago he had cancer, and, you know, he prayed with me, and, you know, and you know, somebody wrote me and said, why are you pushing your religion on me, you know? And I was like, you know, some of these things just get to you. You know, I don't push anything on anybody. I don't tell anybody what to believe. I just don't do that. It's not me. I don't do that. I'm a non-judgmental person, but yet, you know, when you sit in front of this camera, everybody judges you. Everybody judges you. Oh, I don't like the way you wear your hat. I don't like the shirt you're wearing. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. Or I'm going to be an asshole because I'm an asshole and say something to you, you know? So I thought about all those things. By the way, there's a cute bunny rabbit sitting right over here. It's awesome. So I thought about all these things, and I thought about like how it affects me, you know, how it affects Rob, how it affects others. And I got to tell you, I come to the conclusion on a couple of things. One is that you can be too nice to a damn fault, you know what I mean? And people try to take advantage of that. And honestly, I don't take advantage of anybody. I don't ask for anything from anybody. Rob and I, when we do our live streams, we don't ask for money. We don't do that stuff, you know? And I certainly don't like somebody doing that to me, you know? And I realized that there's like some people in my life that are just toxic for me, you know what I mean? Always want. And I'm at my wit's end with that. My tank's been on empty for a while, guys. And when I say my tank's been on empty, honestly, I give and give of myself, you know. I work really hard putting these videos out, guys. It takes a lot of work to put them out, but I love doing that, so I have no complaints about it. But I'm gonna do for me more now, you know. I realize that that's the case, you know. And I also realize that I'm very blessed and fortunate in my life. I know there's people out there that suffer from so many things. I'm worried about diabetes, but there's people with a lot worse, you know. And I gotta tell you guys, I really do care. I actually do care. I do care when people say they're sick or things aren't going right in their lives, you know. So anyway, back to anger in me, you know. I used to be so careless that I could care less, right? That's an oxymoron, right? What I mean by that is I used to not put so much energy into caring and helping others, you know. And I find the more I do that sometimes, the less I get. And I get satisfaction helping people, but at the same time, you know, I got to draw the line in my own life. I realize that lately. You know, I realize that, you know, and again, guys, I do apologize. This is my confessional. This gives you good raw footage. You see Joe in the videos, you see Rob in the videos, you see Chris in the videos, you see Todd in his videos, you see all of us in our videos, but there's a real person on the other side of that, you know what I mean? So I noticed that a lot of things like sometimes become like almost like a damn cesspool, you know what I mean? It's the craziest thing. It's like one person will say something negative and then a bunch of people go, yeah, that's true. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. People love, I realize that there's certain types of people in this world. One is there's this type of people in this world, and I say most people, you know, go through life, kind heart, you know, that type of stuff. Then there's people in this world, type of low life you'll get, that will, because their lives are so crappy, that they'll say whatever to you just because, you know, it makes them feel important, you know what I mean? It makes them feel important into, you know, spread gossip or, you know, have some kind of drama going on, and that got to me too. That was getting me really burned. And then I started thinking, man, I'm gonna retaliate on some of this stuff. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, retaliate against what? You know, it's a losing battle for everybody. I mean, I potentially can, if I wanted to, you know, put down my head and you know, run run those horns into somebody pretty damn hard if I wanted to, but you know what, it gets you nowhere, and it's a negative thing, and negative breeds more negative and more negative, you know. But on the same note, sometimes it wears you the frig out, you know. So anyway, doing the videos, feeling that anger inside me, I decided to step back and kind of reevaluate things, and I thought about some really awesome things in my life, you know. One is that I have you guys and this channel and these great videos, and it's so much fun to do. And then the other thing, I have an awesome responsibility to put out good stuff and good word, and you know, and I do. I always try to do that, you know. If you watch the videos of them, I'm always smiling because it's fun. It's, you know, sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself. I get nervous and I laugh. That's my thing. That's what I do. The one thing that really got me angry recently, and I'll share this with you because this is the topic of tonight, was and I'm shutting my Facebook down. So if anybody's a friend of mine on Facebook, it has to go down, guys. It's done. It's over. It's done. My Facebook's done. The reason why my Facebook is done is that there's been so many. You'd be surprised how many friend requests I get. And when I first started, I let a lot of people on, and not pointing anybody out, but a lot of my personal family pictures wound up all over the place. And then on top of that, it wound up with people who were using them to to send negative stuff to us, so that's going to be done. I realize that, okay, I'm in a position in my life now that that's no longer an option for me. So I do apologize if anybody's on my Facebook, and it's going to be over, because so much, you guys would be amazed if I told you how much stuff goes on through my Facebook, and people reach out to family members of mine. I mean, just out of control. So again, becomes an angry thing, right? It's a constant, you hear these voices, and I believe this when I say this. The voices that come through, they're evil. The intent is to plant a negative seed in your head. Now, fucking just heard a voice. Really? The crazy thing is that, I want to put a positive spin back in my life. I want to get control of my life. I'm thinking about all the things in my life. I'm thinking about when I played football. I'm thinking about when I played baseball. I think about those times in my life, and it brings back some great memories for me, Think about, it was weird because I got really angry today, and it's funny how, like, people from your past, all of a sudden, like, they pop up in your thoughts, And I remember when I was younger, I was in college, and my degrees in English and biology I had like a dual major going, which is so weird because they're so opposite each other, And I had a professor named Dr. Dolan, a little old lady. She used to actually be a nun. It was a really weird thing. She left the nunhood, I guess is what you call it, and then she became a professor. And I remember her always telling me, to think for yourself. And I said, as a kid, when I'm in college, I consider myself a kid now because I'm 51 now, right? But she said there's the right thing to do, and that's what most people do, is just the right thing, right? The right thing is to get up, go to work, that's the right thing. But the right thing to do, because it's right, is two very, very different things. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, the right thing to do is that you're here in class, you're doing your work, and but the right thing to do, because it's right, is that you do the right thing always, even when nobody's looking, And that's the difference in maturity, right? So thought about that a lot today, and I said to myself, well, she's right, and I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, and I'm not professing to be perfect, but I always try to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. I fall short like everybody else, but again, I realized that was a part of my life that I kind of like put on the back burner, and when I say that is that knowing that I shouldn't get angry at things that I really have no control over, But I did. I started going down this anger path. I can't stand somebody who's a two-faced person, and that bugs the shit out of me, you know what I mean? And, honestly, I'm a person myself who, I'm that guy you can call up as a friend, and I'll be there for you no matter what. I never asked anybody for money in my life. I never said, hey, I need money. Hey, I need this. Hey, give me that. But I find that that's not always the case in my life. And that's another thing weighing me the fuck down. Excuse the language. So I thought about these things. I thought about all these things in my life. And then I started thinking about what's important, what's happy, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, what brings me down, the difference of the right thing or the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And I thought about all these things, you know. And the right thing is for me to do videos, right? And talk to you guys. The right thing, because it's the right thing to do, is give you guys a very real, raw video. Because you know what? If there's somebody out there who this benefits, then great, awesome, touche, that is great. And that's what it's about, right? So I thought about all these things in my life, and I remember as a kid, I was a real shy kid. Believe it or not, I was a shy kid. And, but boy, was I tough as nails. My dad taught me how to fight when I was a little kid. We would box. He was a grown man, and he would actually say, until you can take me down, we're going to be down here every day in our basement boxing with my dad. Big muscly guy, big strong guy, you know. And because of that, I was tough as nails. And then I realized that even though I was shy, I could take care of my own, and I never would bully anybody. But the times in my life when it was called for me to be that guy, I was all right, you know. And I remember the first time I looked evil in the face, and it's weird. I think that I was doing the wrong thing. And I remember this kid Anthony moved into my neighborhood up in New York, you know, and I remember him convincing me to cut out of school, you know. And this is where my dad came in and saved my life, even though he doesn't know it. But I remember Anthony says, hey, let's cut out of school. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. He's like, come on, man, we'll have fun. And I remember going to, he's like, hey, listen, I know this guy, he's got go-karts and he's got all these cool things. Let's go over there. And I get there and it's like this guy, like he's fucking in his 30s, you know? And I just knew it was wrong. I just knew, you know? And I remember I was a shy kid, you know, and we went over to the house and he was showing us go-karts and stuff. And then I was sitting down on this guy's couch and Anthony was sitting next to me, and the guy goes in the next room and I could see him looking around the corner just staring at me with this most evil stare, you know. And I freaking knew that there was going to be some kind of problem, you know. And I look at my friend Anthony, I'm like, we're leaving right now. And he's like, no, this guy's cool, you know. And I remember my dad taught me how to fight. So as soon as I got up, he came running back in the room like he didn't want me to leave. And I remember just cleaning this man's clock. I mean, and I went home and I was like, wow, you know, I didn't tell my parents or anything. I was too scared, you know. I cut out of school that day. True story. That my friend Anthony stayed there, and I left. And a few months later, I found out that this guy like had molested kids around that neighborhood. You know, freaking horrible, right? And he went to prison for it. And then I found out that that kid Anthony, that was a brand new kid in the area, you know. Years later, he told me he was one of the kids that he molested, and he was too afraid to say anything, you know. So I thought about that, like all these things went through my head today with anger, and like you know, and I realized, and the reason why I told you that story is, you know, you gotta be strong, but you gotta be strong for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. So, so in other words, the moral of that story is, I had this anger in me, but I was angry at the wrong things, you know, things I should just let go. I should have been so careless, as if I could care less, right? So the point I'm making is that I was this calm, peaceful kid, shy, and yet I had that inner strength in me to defend myself, to know the difference, right? And you know, it's awesome that I was able to do that. It's sad for the other kids. And then I thought, like, what do I have my mental strength for, my physical strength for? And it's really to do the right thing because it's right. Not waste my time getting angry over stuff I shouldn't, you know? But on the same note, I realized that I need to bring that back into myself, you know what I mean? That same toughness to not be taken advantage of, you know? To not let people just say, hey, I need this from you, I need that from you. You know, because to be honest with you, I don't ask that of others. So, and again, I'm not, if you're thinking I'm implying somebody or whatever, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying is that there's many people in my life, so, you know, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody in particular. So I thought about all the things, you know, and, you know, and I realized that I'm going to get back to that, you know, instead of me being so giving of myself, I decided to not be so giving of myself, to do more for me. And that's not a bad thing. It's not saying that, you know, hey, I need to cut everybody off in my life, because that's not the truth. That's not the case. But I also realize is that from that kid that day that cleaned that guy's clock, you know what I mean? Who that justly deserved it, to now, sometimes you gotta remember who you really are, you know? Give you another story. It's kind of a funny story, but I used to deliver the penny saver, and I had the satchel and the bag with it, you know. And my buddy Chris is like, hey, listen, you know, he delivered the penny savers in one neighborhood and I did another up in New York, and, you know, we were kids, you know. And I remember he's like, hey, you want to switch routes this week? And I forget the reason why, but we switched routes. And I'm delivering on his route. Well, what he didn't tell me is this freaking maniac, if you throw the paper in his yard, he goes berserk. You know, I didn't know this. You know, my friend never told me. He forgot to tell me. So I'm riding along, and I'm coming down the street, and I throw the paper into the yard, and the guy comes running out. He's wearing a robe, and ridiculous, chasing me down the street. But I just kept going. I'm just ignoring him, and he kind of stopped after a minute, you know. But I had to come back down the other side of the street. So as I'm coming back down the other side of the street, he comes out to me and he grabs the handlebars of my bike, and he's holding them. This is how tough a kid I was. I was 13 years old. But I knew how to fight. I'm a box, and my dad taught me martial arts. I mean, I was a badass kid. So this guy comes over and he's yelling at me, and as he's yelling at me, saliva's hitting me in the face. You know, he had this. He was out there like in his pajama pants, a robe. He had this big hairy chest. It was intimidating, like weird looking, you know, weird looking dude for a kid, you know. And his big mustache. And he's screaming at me, and I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. And then he took the paper, the rolled up paper, and slapped me right across the face. Bop! Now, mind you, I'm 13 years old. This guy's, I don't know, he's an adult, got a hairy chest, big guy. So I remember as a kid, I was like Cool Hand Luke, man. I took my bag off, stepped off my bike, put my kickstand up, and I said, now I have to hurt you, sir. And all the neighbors are like watching this because they see this commotion. Sorry guys, I must have been talking for 30 minutes because the camera just shut off. So they see all this freaking commotion. The neighbors are watching, and like I said, I get off my bike and I'm like, sir, now I'm gonna have to hit you because you hit me. That's what my dad told me. I'm defending myself. So the guy actually took a swing on me. He ducked, but I came up and right under the jaw. Let me tell you something. There were teeth on the ground, and he couldn't get up. And I remember that, and I remember I called my dad, the neighbors called the police. This guy was trying to, like, you know, and the police, of course, I'm 13 years old, and they asked what happened. I'm like, he hit me first, like, good for you, kid. And I remember my dad coming down there, and he came down there, and I remember my dad's like, look, I'm just gonna take care of this myself. So my dad threw the bike in the trunk of the car, pulled up this guy's driveway. You know, my dad was a police officer, and the cops were like, well, do what you gotta do. And I remember my dad grabbing the guy by the hair and putting his face up against the window of the car, and he's like, you apologize to my son right now. And didn't want to press charges on the guy. I guess, like, you know, it's pretty bad. He lost all his freaking front teeth, you know, and I'll never forget that. So the point I'm making is this: is through these stories is there's a little bit of my dad that's in me, you know, that will to fight, you know. And I realized I kind of put that on the back burner of my life, and then I kind of, like, you know, let that subside for a while, and then I realized that so many people are like, oh, well, Joe's such a nice guy, you know, hey, you know, he's not gonna mind. But I kind of mind now. So I'm at the point where I'm realizing, you know, taking a look back more of who I am, what's important in life, what's not important in life, and it turns out I'm important to myself. And you know, you know, last couple of years, you heard the story already. We don't see our kids every day. It sucks. It sucks. There's nothing in this world that actually can replace that. Nothing. Is zero. Not seeing your kids every day, to me, is an absolute nightmare. So I dealt with that for the past few years. And then I realized it became somewhat, in my heart, a little bit, kind of forgot who I was, kind of let the negative shit in my life take over. Well, I'm deciding not to do that anymore. So, with that being said, this is not a bitch session, but, you know, you're getting raw, real Joe right here. And I guess I come to the point where I'm like, you know what, you know, sometimes enough is enough. And when you get to that point where enough is enough, you make changes in your life, and sometimes it takes you to get so low, sometimes even below the dirt, to realize that you need to bring yourself back up. You know what I mean? Because damn it, you know what? Somebody may not like me, but they're damn sure gonna respect me, and that's where I'm going with this. So with that being said, I'm making changes. I hope you guys make changes in your life. You know, grab the world, buy what you want, and get what you want in this life. You know, the saddest thing in life is regret. You know, you gotta be on point with what you are, who you are. You know, be happy with yourself. Yeah, I fight my demons every day. That's why I do the videos, to be honest with you. That's kind of why I do the videos, is because I'm trying to get back. And I'm starting to get back. Depression sucks, guys. I go through it a lot. But anger's even just as bad, and I just started getting angry, and then I realized there's nothing to be angry about. There's nobody to fear. All I need to do is just be me and true to thine own self. So with that being said, guys, love each and every one of you. You guys are simply absolutely amazing. The reason why I'm here today talking about this, one, like I said, it's kind of getting stuff off my chest. Two, the most important thing is that give you guys part of me, because you're giving me so much of you. Now with that being said, have an amazing night. Will this video be good? I hope so, but you know what? If it isn't, hey, it's honest. Anyway, guys, love you guys. Always stay strong. Peace. For the record, ain't
For the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all.
Frozen.
A6 all the hate. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and age. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the. On record, off record. I still count wins when they doubt it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost. Running through it with the young influence. Adolescent presence. I'm succumbing to it. I've been giving yeses when I shouldn't do it. I complete ejected with the losing. And I'm barely moving, but I'm still gon' boost them. I can't work on winners when I know you're losing. So I work the winners and they throw the deuces. Guess I have to pivot, shooting no bazookas for the facts. I need racks, paper, cash, buck attacks. That's a joke, tell them laugh. Uncle Sam, fuck out the bag. Brody plot, but get a whack. Contract, give me the max. I got lab on my back. You ain't that, then it's raps.
Whoa.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all